I have just a few things to show you today. Hi everyone, I'm Liz and welcome back to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. Today's video is going to be a bit massive, I think, because it has been probably a month since I sat down and updated you guys on all of the things I've been making. I'll stop for a minute and introduce myself. My name is Liz. I am a crafter of all kinds, a maker of all things, and I live in Central Texas with my husband and our cats. And I have a very full-time corporate job that takes up most of my time, but any time that is not taken up with working, I spend making things. And in today's video, I have cross-stitch, sewing, and knitting projects to update you guys on. Typically, I start out with a little bit of a life update and what I've been up to. So most of you probably saw that I was just at Nashville Needlework Market last week. I posted a vlog all about my weekend and what I got up to while I was there. So if you want a little peek into how I spent last weekend, I will link that video for you down below. And since then, I've just had a very busy week at work trying to catch up from the couple of days that I took off, and I've been making a lot of things. I've had a very crafty, fun weekend. In general, I've just been making a lot of things, specifically a lot of things for me to wear. I've been making a lot of clothes lately in knitted form, sewing, and I have so many ideas and so many more plans. And I really don't feel like I've talked to you guys about sewing in a while. I did a sewing vlog a few weeks ago when I made a pair of bow boxer shorts. And since then, I've just been really wanting to make my own clothes. So yeah, this table, it's like not even out of frame probably. You can kind of see some of it, but yeah, I need to clear myself some space. I'm trying to decide where to start. I think what we're going to do is start with cross stitch, and then we'll go through sewing, and then we'll go through knitting. And I think I've got a little bit of haul, happy mail, and different things. So I think I'm just going to section this video up by craft to try to keep it organized. If I can remember to do so, I'll put chapters in this video so you can kind of skip around. If there's a section that you're uninterested in, if you want to skip, fine by me. And oh my gosh. It's also just a beautiful day outside. I'm staring out my windows. They're wide open. I think you can see the reflection right here. It's like 70 degrees and sunny. It's March 16th, 17th. It's close to St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if that's tomorrow. Either way, it's the middle of March. It's beautiful outside. I've been delaying filming all day because I kept thinking, oh, maybe I'll go do something fun and outdoorsy. I just want to craft, even though it's beautiful outside. I did, though, make my husband take some pictures of me in some of my new outfits that I've made, so that was fun. But okay, before I get too rambly, let's just dive on in to the cross stitch. The first thing I have to show you was a start and a finish, and this all happened on Friday night. I'll show it to you, and then let's talk about it. This is a brand new design by my friend Frizzy Lizzie Stitches here on YouTube and on Instagram. Elizabeth came up with this beautiful little crafty goose design that has a couple of different layout options. And when I saw her stitched finish of it, I immediately ran to her Etsy shop, downloaded it, and stitched it in about, I don't know, 3 hours on Friday night. And I think a lot of people did. I've seen so many people stitching this on Instagram over the weekend, and it's just so fun. Big congratulations to Lizzie on her adorable little design. I just pulled flosses out of my stash. I think the white she called for $38.65, and I used that, but otherwise I used just a conversion of overdyes to kind of match the vibe. And I happen to have this little kind of ornament pack or sampler pack of Weeks Dye Work fabrics. So they're not labeled, but I'm pretty sure this is straw, or if they have a color darker yellow than straw, I can't remember, but it's just a little 32 count, like 7x7 square sample. And so that's what I stitched mine on. And my plan is to insert this into a piece of patchwork and turn it into a bag. And I'm not exactly sure what kind of bag yet, but I'll figure it out. I just saw this and wanted to stitch it immediately, so I did. I did 2 strands over 2 linen threads, and it's adorable. And if you are also a silly little goose who's a crafty girl, I think you should go stitch it. Okay, the next project I have to show you is one I completely forgot to include in my market preview video from a few weeks ago. I was showing off all of the market starts I've had over the years, and I completely forgot about something I started at market last year. And the reason I was reminded is because some of my friends decided to start stitching it this year. And I was like, wait, I started that. I started it for market. So let me grab, well, I'll put a picture up. It's called Home Sweet Home by Teresa Kitten Stitcher. Her design brand is Shakespeare's Peddler. Shakespeare's Peddler is the designer. And I bought this as a physical chart at market last year and got it started. And then I hadn't worked on it much because I'm a PDF stitcher now and I haven't been working on my paper chart designs. Well, I got on Kitten Stitcher's website and she sells this as a PDF now. So I bought the PDF, even though I already have the paper chart. But that means I want to stitch on it again. And I've made some progress this week. So here is Home Sweet Home. I think I'm about 25% completed now, according to markup. And I am stitching mine on a 40 count fiber on a whim fabric. I'm forgetting the name, but it's a beautiful 40, oh wait, no, it's Forbidden Fiber. Praline or something, Forbidden Fiber, and I'm using the called for colors, which there was one update of a color to the chart. So if you go to Teresa's website, it does show that one of the colors was written down wrong on the chart. So I've got that corrected, and I am really happy to have this one back in rotation. My friends Shiloh, X Stitch MD, Lauren, New Hampshire Stitcher, and I can't remember if Julie was going to start it or not, but at least Lauren and Shiloh, I know, started working on this, and that prompted me to get mine back out. So I've just been really feeling like my stitchy bug since I went to market last weekend, of course. So 1 strand over 2 threads on my linen. And think of what else I like to say about cross stitch. It's been a while since I showed you guys some cross stitch. But yeah. Super cute. There's a ton of colors in this, which make it a little bit fiddly, but it's really worth it, I think. The colors look really good. And I am obsessed with this linen, which I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll put it on the screen. It's just a really, really pretty, like, warm neutral. I was describing it to my friend Lauren as kind of luxury vintage country mocha. Because it's just got that really good modeling and really good neutral. So anyways, that's Home Sweet Home. Okay, the last piece of cross stitch I have to share with you is my Skipjack sampler by Ardith Designs, and this is a piece that I'm doing as a stitch along with a couple of friends, and we started this at Stitch North. Stitch North is coming up in about a month and a half, so I need to get this piece finished so we can all take our little celebratory finish picture. I don't want to be the one left out. So I have been working on this, and I think I'm within 1,000 stitches now of having a finish, which is very exciting. I am stitching this on Fiber on a Whim Hydrangea. I think it's a 36 count, and I'm doing 1 strand over 2 threads. And I am using the called for Forbidden Fiber Floss Pack. And I just had to sub out, I used a dark purple DMC instead of the blue because the blue doesn't show up great. And I did want to try to use the blue as the numbers down in the water, but I kind of feel like it's not showing up great there either. So I may unpick this blue and pick a different color, like maybe a navy or more royal blue or something. I think lighter colors, like the lighter aqua, there's not enough contrast on my fabric. But oh, it looks so good. And Lizzie just finished hers and it looks great. I know Lauren finished hers. I can't remember if Shiloh's finished hers, but I think I'm the last one. So I definitely have this one out next to the couch, and I've just been putting a couple of strands in every once in a while to get this one over the finish line. I've been spending a lot of time this week trying to fill in this white sail. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about cross stitch. Okay, let's talk about sewing for a minute because I have been doing a lot of cloth sewing and I have been enjoying it so much. I have honestly never made myself this many clothes at once. I've definitely made myself clothes over the years, different dresses, skirts, things like that, pajama pants, but I just have like a real desire to make myself all kinds of fun summery things. And one of the reasons is because I feel like there's so much good clothing fabric available. Fableism makes really great wovens. Ruby Star makes great wovens. Art Gallery has been making some. And Blackbird Fabrics, which is a great Canadian online fabric shop that I just ordered from. I have some haul. I'm like, I have some haul and things from them. So I've just been really inspired by the fabrics I've been finding and by some of the clothing pattern makers and things that I found on YouTube and on Instagram. So yeah, I talked about in my sewing vlog the bow boxer shorts pattern, and I made a tester pair in that video, this cute little pink and white striped or pink and pink striped boxer shorts. And then I decided that I wanted to make myself kind of a vacation set. I am going to the Cayman Islands with my mom and my sisters to celebrate my mom's birthday in about a month. And I thought, let me make a fun little short sleeve shorts vacation set. And that's what I did. I am gonna hold up the pieces, and I did take some videos and stuff for you, but the first thing is the boxer shorts with the aforementioned bows. And I love them. They're so cute, so simple and easy to make. I really, really enjoyed this pattern. I found it really well written, really easy to follow. My only negative I have to say about the pattern is that it didn't include instructions for putting pockets. And that's normally something I look for before I decide to make a pattern, because I want everything to have pockets. And I didn't really think about it with this pair because I just wanted this little, you know, bow detail so much. So on the very first pair, I didn't put any pockets in, but then on these, I was like, no, these must have pockets, especially if I'm going to wear them like they're not just pajama shorts, right? Like I'm going to wear them out in public. They need to have pockets. So I found a YouTube tutorial. If I can find it in my YouTube history, I'll link it for you, on kind of putting in a inset side seam pocket. And so I just used a pocket bag pattern from a dress that I have and followed the instructions from the YouTube tutorial and put pockets in my shorts, and it turned out so good. I also really like the detail the pattern includes of the double stitching around the elastic, and that just gives it a little bit more of kind of like a finished look. And then I also put in a little tag in the back. Another thing that's been really helping out my clothes sewing game is a recent purchase, and I bought a serger. So I bought the Brother something. I don't know. I can't remember if I talked about this in my sewing vlog or not, but somebody commented on my video that I should buy a serger if I was really getting into clothes sewing, and I was like, you're right. You're right. I should. So I ran off to Amazon. I bought a serger, and honestly, I'm so proud of how my clothes are turning out now with their beautifully finished seams. This was the first project I used it on, and so the threads are hilariously colored because I used the threads that came with the machine. But you can see I have my little professionally finished and serged seams in here. These have been washed a couple of times, so these are definitely getting use. I've been wearing them with t-shirts. I haven't worn the full set yet because I feel like that's more of a vacation look, but I have been wearing the shirt with jeans, so yeah, I'm obsessed. I don't feel like I've ever shown off clothes like this on the channel, so I'm kind of finding it awkward to hold this up in pieces, but those are the shorts. A+, recommend the pattern, but add pockets. Okay, the shirt. I made, oh, why am I forgetting the name? I think it's a Helen's Closet pattern. I'll put all the details up. And I have made this shirt before. It's kind of like a camp shirt, I think is the style, which is kind of more of like a relaxed button-down shirt. And I have made it before and loved it, and I made it again, and I think it turned out so good. So good. Like, I'm just kind of wildly impressed with myself and the quality of this shirt, if I'm honest. I think I need to still do a little bit better about matching up fabrics because I kind of accidentally made the green and yellow kind of a little too prominent in the front of the shirt, but I haven't quite figured out how best to line up my fabrics and when you have like seam allowance, like how everything's gonna line up, but I'll get there because all of the fabrics I've been buying have been gingham or stripes or some kind of pattern, so I'm gonna have to get better at pattern matching. That's on my sewing skills to learn list for sure. This pattern, again, 10 out of 10. If you want to learn how to sew a button-down shirt with a collar, I think this one is a really easy, good button-down to start with. It's very, very simple to make. And it has some really clever construction, like the back yoke and how it's so seamless on the inside and outside and adds some structure to the top of your shirt. The only thing I modified is that I didn't use interfacing for the collar or the button facings because this woven is a little bit heavier than just kind of a standard shirting. So I felt like it really didn't need the interfacing. I wanted this to have more of like a relaxed linen button down type vibe, so I skipped the interfacing. Again, I used my serger to give the nice finished seams on the inside. I did top stitch everything in a pink because I felt like that was a prominent enough color on my fabric that it made sense. I do kind of wish I had had maybe a forest green to use on my buttonholes just because the pink does stand out a lot. But when the shirt is closed and buttoned, I actually think it looks pretty cute with the pink buttonholes. I'll show you. Right? Like, I think that's pretty cute. So yeah, that is my first little vacation set that I made. And oh, the fabric. This is a Fabulism woven cotton fabric. I got this from Cottoneer, which is kind of one of my favorite go-to for Fabulism fabrics. They have a really good selection usually, but you can find Fabulism at all kinds of places online. And oh my gosh, my local quilt store was talking about trying to find a distributor so they can get it in stock, and it would be amazing if I could actually shop it in person. The only negative I can say about Fabulism fabrics is that they come in 44-inch wide bolts, and usually for clothing fabric, it's easier if they come in like 54 to 60-inch widths because you can kind of, well, it uses less yardage. And then sometimes like on pants, you can kind of cut it close if you're doing a wide leg on just like a 42, 44-inch, at least in my size. So I do wish these came in wider widths, but I still love them, and I think they're so, so nice to sew with. Okay, the next piece of clothing I want to talk about is something I'm currently wearing, so I'll put a picture in, and that is these Lane pants that I made yesterday. Lane pants are a pattern by Sydney Graham, and she has a really great YouTube channel with a lot of really good sewing tutorials and video tutorials of her patterns and how to hack her patterns, and she also has really nice vlogs, like sewing vlogs and things. So that's how I discovered her, and it's how I discovered her Lane pants pattern, by following her YouTube videos. These are just a really comfy pull-on elastic waist drawstring wide leg pant, and I'm obsessed with them and I want to make about 10 more. I have so many ideas in my head. The pair I made yesterday were a practice pair. Some people make what's called a toile or a muslin, where you make a pattern first out of really cheap and expensive fabric they don't care about because you're just kind of trying to make sure that the size you're making is correct and make any adjustments before you use your good fabric. And I wanted to do that, but because I'm me, I hate the idea of wasting time. Not that it's a waste of time to make sure a pattern fits you well, but I wanted to make a pair straight from the pattern just to see how it fit and then decide from there if I wanted to make any adjustments. But in my mind, I'm like, what if I make the pattern as called for and it fits great, and then I'm annoyed I made it in a weird, ugly, cheap fabric because then I can't wear it. So yesterday morning, my local quilt store was having their third Saturday sale where everything in the store is 20% off. So I went over there and they had some Ruby Star Society wovens, and I can't remember what this fabric was called, but I'll put it up on the screen. They had just got it in 2 days before, and I was immediately like, 4 yards, please. And because it was 20% off, it was probably around $35, $40 maybe for the yardage I bought, which is not inexpensive at all, but it's much cheaper than the fabric I'm going to show you in my haul. And I did not want to cut into that fabric until I had kind of done a tester pair. And honestly, I'm so glad I chose this fabric to do my tester pair because they did turn out so good. And I'm so happy now that I have these pants to wear. There are a couple of things I think I might change for the next pair, but overall, these are so wearable, so comfy, and I'm gonna wear them all summer long. And I actually think they look kind of cute with my handmade sweater, which of course we'll get into in the knitting section because yes, this is brand new. Also, it was just such a beautiful day today that I was out in the backyard taking photos and just feeling very fun and cool in my handmade outfit. Even though it's like so over the top colorful and I feel a little bit like somebody's crazy aunt in these clothes, it also makes me really, really happy that I made everything that I'm wearing and that it's such like a bright, springy, fun vibe. So I'm going to try and convince myself to wear this outfit to work one day this week. And hopefully I don't chicken out and, you know, everybody can just think of me as their crazy, kooky aunt. Okay, the pants pattern. I have one complaint about the pattern itself, and I would say if you're a beginner, I maybe wouldn't recommend this pants pattern only because the pattern does not have a cutting layout. Most of the time when you buy clothes sewing patterns, they have, you know, all the pattern pieces, and then they tell you how much yardage you need if you're buying a 44-inch fabric, a 54-inch fabric, a 60-inch fabric. And this pattern had that, but the amount of fabric that the pattern called for a 44-inch wide fabric in my size was 3 yards of fabric. It was actually 2 7/8, but I bought 3 yards of fabric. And I cut out my pattern pieces, I started laying it out, and I was like, this isn't fitting. Let me see, how does a pattern call for me to lay out my pattern pieces? Well, there was no layout in the pattern of how you were supposed to cut out these pants in this size on 44-inch wide fabric. And so from my perspective, I think that means that maybe that part wasn't actually tested, like pattern tested. Like maybe the designer hasn't tried to make this size or nobody has tried to make this size and this width of fabric at this yardage because it was impossible. I couldn't get all the pieces laid out. So that is one of the reasons why I went and bought fabric yesterday morning, because I didn't have 4 yards of fabric that I would need in a 44-inch wide to make this pattern. So that's one thing I find lacking. And I did watch her video tutorial of how to make the pants, but again, she didn't show how to lay out your pattern pieces on the fabric. So anyways, I just found that a bit bizarre. And so I would say if you're a beginner and maybe not, like if you're not as experienced at sewing clothes, maybe, I'm sure there's probably other wide leg pant patterns out there. So that was a little bit of a challenge. The other thing that is just a me thing and a fit thing, the next pair I make, I want to make slightly slimmer through the thigh and like the whole leg in general. Like I feel like the waist and the hip is really nice on me, but I find the legs kind of extra wide and I want maybe just a slightly smaller wide leg on the next pair I make. But other than that, really, really happy with how this turned out. And I'm really excited that I was able to make a pair in about 5 hours yesterday. Okay, so let's talk about the next pair of pants that I want to make. This is some haul. I ordered this beautiful pink and red gingham from Blackbird Fabrics. Here's their card. It is called Gingham Soft Washed Linen in the color Sweet Tart. And this is 100% linen and it is 55 inches wide and I got 3 meters. So a little bit more than 3 yards and it's 55 inches. So it's going to be plenty of fabric to make these lane pants. And ooh, this fabric was pricey. Does it say how much it was a yard? No. I think after the price of the fabric, the shipping costs from Canada, the import tax or whatever I had to pay on it. I order so many things from Canada. It's going to be a problem. Anyways, I think I paid $150. for this 4 yards of fabric, which is why I was like, I am not going to cut into this for the very first pair of lane pants, because what if the size and the shape and everything is wrong? So that is why I made these Ruby Star ones as my tester, and I'm so happy I did because they came out great. But I also am glad that I did that because now I know I want to make some slight adjustments to the width of the legs, and I can do that before I make my second pair. I think next weekend's project is going to be to get these cut out and started because I am obsessed with this gingham. I'm kind of hoping I have enough left over to make like a little tank top or something as like a matching set, but we will see. I only have 3 meters, but it is 55 inches, so I am going to be able to lay out my pattern pieces a little bit more efficiently, so we'll see what I end up having leftovers of, but I'm obsessed. Obsessed. I need to find, if anybody has any good clothing fabric websites to recommend here in the US, let me know, because so far Blackbird Fabric I feel like has the best options for linens, but if you guys are clothes sewers and have any good recommendations, please let me know. Also, RIP Joanne. Joanne was like the only thing kind of local to me that has anywhere near decent options for like clothes fabrics, but they're gone now, or gonna be gone soon. I think my local Joanne is picked over, so anyways, I need new online options. Okay, I have a couple other haul pieces of fabric I wanted to show you. I have this really pretty blue gingham from Fabulism, and this was supposed to be the pair of lane pants that I was going to start with, but I think it was the weekend before market when I sat down to cut these out is when I realized that 3 yards of a 44-inch wide fabric was just not going to work for these pants. So I gotta find something fun to do with this. I'm thinking maybe a dress or a skirt or I don't know. But right now I've got 3 yards of this pretty gingham in my stash. And then I also got this Fabulism fabric, which is this super fun, big kind of gingham. Honestly, very similar to the pants I'm wearing by Ruby Star. This I got very much for a dress. The pattern I have in mind is the Sid tie dress by Sydney Graham. I'm a little more leery now of her patterns just because I'm worried about yardage and about cutting diagrams, but I'm going to do a little bit more research on people who have made this dress before, but this style of dress is really what I want to make. I love the little tie front, and I love the sleeve options. I think I would do sleeveless and like a midi length skirt, but yeah, that's my idea for right now. Oh my gosh, the stacks in front of me. And then this is an art gallery woven from Susie Quilts, who is a quilt designer I really enjoy on Instagram. And it's just a really pretty soft purple. I don't have anything in mind. I think originally I thought about a skirt, but this feels kind of maybe not drapey enough. Like I feel like this might be a better shirt or even a pair of pants. So we'll see. I got 3 yards of that. So I am building up quite the collection of clothes fabrics, but I'm very excited about it. Also, while I was at my local quilt store, I got a few other things and I thought I'd show you. I got a bag pattern. What did I do with it? Oh, literally, where did it go? I'll put it up on the screen. It's this really, really cute little bag pattern. And while I was there, I got the hardware that I need for it from Sally Tomato. And yeah, I don't know when I'll make it, but it was super cute and 20% off. And then I was looking at the other handbag supplies and they had this amazing printed webbing from Ruby Star in this starry print. So it's just a little natural webbing with pink stars printed on it. And I got this other one that I think is from Moda, and it's just this yellow and cream stripe webbing. So I don't have any exact plans, but you know I like to make bags, so I got some bag making supplies. I also found this fabric from Tula Pink, and it's just a pink and red stripe, because I'm all about the pink and red, and I don't know. I also got this super cute little fold up strawberry shopping bag from Ruby Star. It looks like that when it's unfolded. It's just a little reusable shopping tote, but I'll probably use it as a knitting bag or something. It was just too cute to leave behind. Oh, and then I also, these actually came from Blackbird Fabrics. I got some of their woven labels, and I'm like dumping them all out. They're very, very cute. I'll put a picture up though, but here's my favorite. I am kind of obsessed with the idea of all my handmade clothes having cute little labels in them, and my sweaters. So I've been collecting these little garment labels, and I'm obsessed with them. With that, I think we're done talking about sewing. I think that's it. Okay. 38 minutes into filming. Okay, I think we're doing okay. I was kind of worried this video was going to be like 2 hours long. And to be honest, who knows? Because I haven't started talking about knitting yet, and I have a lot to talk about. So let me reorganize this table, and then we'll move on to knitting, and we'll talk about this. Okay, knitting. I have been knitting so much over the last month, and I've started a ton of things. I finished a couple of things. I have abandoned things. I have done so much. I've done a little bit of yarn shopping, which I said I wasn't going to do, but it happened. Yeah, so let's start with a finish. I have finished my Alpine Bloom tee by Caitlin Hunter. This is a sport weight 2-color stranded colorwork circular yoke sweater that is knit from the top down with some short row shaping, and really the standout feature is this beautiful floral colorwork motif. And yeah, I finally finished it. I feel like I was working on this one for a long time, but I think really what happened is I got very excited and knit the yoke very fast, and then I just kind of lost steam when I got to the boring stockinette in the round of the body. But I picked this up a few weeks ago, finished the body, put the sleeves on, blocked it, and I love it. I love it. I do have some critiques for myself and some things I would do differently if I were to make this again, which I probably won't because it's a very specific garment, but I do think I should have sized up a needle on the colorwork section because my colorwork is definitely tighter than the plain stockinette, which, you know, if I had done a better job of swatching, I would have known, but I didn't. I kind of just jumped on in. So my colorwork is very much on gauge and my stockinette is just a little bit looser, but it's fine. The only place where it bothers me a little bit is the sleeves. I feel like the sleeves look slightly puffy, not that bad. And to be honest, I have kind of like steamed and ironed these a little bit into place, but you know, you can see some extra fabric that wants to kind of poke up around the edges, and the twisted rib kind of pulls it in. So it, you know, it's not like the best shape of a sleeve, but it's also not a deal breaker and it's not going to prevent me from wearing this. But I think that's my main note, is that I'm not super happy with how I did my sleeves. I also modified them. I did not do the called for edging, and I don't even know that I followed any kind of instructions as far as like decreases. Like I picked up my stitches, knit several rows, did a decrease, knit several rows, did a decrease, and added ribbing. Like I just kind of made up these short sleeves for my version. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. But I think the sleeves are honestly the only thing that I had a little bit of like, okay, whatever with. The other thing that was surprising though to me was the length of this. I took a video of me wearing this pre-blocking and then immediately post-blocking, and the length this grew was a lot. And I had fully blocked the yoke, so that didn't grow, but the just stockinette portion of this sweater grew so much. I really thought I was knitting this a more cropped kind of natural waist length to wear over like high-waisted skirt or over dresses, but this came out like wear it with jeans, kind of hip length sweater, kind of where I knit all the rest of my sweaters. So that's really interesting. I'm glad I didn't knit it any longer because I think it would have come out too long, but yeah, I definitely thought this was going to be more cropped than it was, but I'm not mad at all about the length that it came out. I think it looks great. I knit this pattern with the main color being a Cormo Sport from Sincere Sheep in the color Sakura. And I used Spin Cycle dyed in the wool in the color Straw Baby. And I used about 1.5 skeins of the Spin Cycle in the 4th size of the Alpine Bloom. And I used 2 3/4 of the skeins I had of the Sakura. I did think at the start of this project that my 3 skeins of Cormo were going to be enough to get me long sleeves, but basically what happened was on the first sleeve I picked up and I did 10 rows of stockinette. Well, so I picked up the sleeve, I weighed the yarn I had left, and then I did 10 rounds and then weighed the yarn again, and basically I figured out that I could have done 2 sleeves that were about elbow length or like mid forearm at the very best, or I could do short sleeves. So I didn't want 3/4 length sleeves. I kind of either wanted short or I wanted full length. I was hoping I would get full length, but it's fine. I just went ahead and made mine the short sleeve version, and I think it's honestly going to be really wearable this summer to work because they keep our office at like 65 degrees and I always want a little sweater or something inside, and so I think this little short sleeve sweater is actually going to be perfect for spring and summer. So I'm really happy with it. I knit this with the called for needles. I just subbed a twisted rib for all of my edges instead of doing the lace, and yeah, I think that's all I have to say about my Alpine Bloom. Okay, the next finish I have is a Sophie shawl by Petite Knit. If you watched my Nashville vlog from last weekend, you will have seen that I started a Sophie shawl in the most amazing yarn combination ever. The first skein is Ruby and Rose's rose gold fingering weight that has just a little bit of sparkle in there. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera at all, but I think this is called Mistletoe Mixer, and it's just a very pale kind of cream, barely tinged with pink, and then lots of fun Christmassy kind of speckles. But honestly, it doesn't really read super Christmassy to me. It just reads girly and speckly and fun. And then I paired it with the best yarn that I've ever used. This is brushed Surrey alpaca from Blue Sky Fibers, which they classify as a DK weight Surrey yarn. It's 100% baby Surrey alpaca, and I think it's like 150 yards per 50 gram skein. And so I used 2 skeins of the brushed Surrey with 1 skein of the fingering weight held together, and I knit the Cotton Candy Sophie Shawl of Dreams. Ooh, ah. I love it. The fuzzy, fluffy halo on this is amazing. The pink color just paired so perfectly with this yarn and its speckles. My gosh, I really hope, like, you can even see little bits of sparkle in person. I feel like sparkle is the hardest thing to pick up on camera, but this is so, so nice. And it has been in the 80s, 90s. Today's only 70, but it has been hot here. So there is a good chance that I will not get to wear this until next year, but I don't care. I knit this in 1 week. I was so excited about it. It was just so much fun to knit. I need to plan some sort of ski vacation, so I have a reason to wear this, but maybe I'll get sent back to New York for work. This fabric combination is just all I want to work with now. As you'll see when we get into new starts, I've been obsessed with fluff. Fluffy yarns. And Surrey alpaca especially. And it's so inappropriate for where I live. Even on its coldest days, it would be hard to justify wearing a Surrey alpaca garment. But in the middle of March, when it's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow, this isn't getting worn anytime soon, but it was an absolute joy to make. The Sophie shawl is just such an easy, fun garter stitch pattern with a built-in I-cord, which makes finishing instant. I just had like, 3 ends to weave in, and then it was a beautiful finished shawl, which really, they call it a shawl, but this is just a scarf. you know, it's just a little bit of a wide scarf with a pretty pointed end. Anyways, I feel like I talked about this ad nauseum in my last video, so I'll leave you with that. That's my Sophie shawl. Okay, now I have whips and starts. So I'm trying to think about, I'm gonna start with the whips, and we'll start with the other project that I took with me to Nashville last weekend, and I worked on a fair bit. I got several inches of this done, and that is my Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. This is a beanie pattern that is widely popular. I have knit one before. This is my second one, and let me show you where it's at. Ta-da! I was right about here last time I showed it to you, so I've knit probably about 4 more inches. I think I'm about halfway through my hat at this point. It is knit end to end, and then you put one end inside the other, and I am doing enough to have like a fold up brim. So I think I'm maybe almost halfway. I think I need to knit it to about 16 or 17 inches before I'm done. And I am using another Ruby and Roses yarn. This is her Plump Rose, maybe? It's the one that has some cashmere in it. And it's in the color Into the Woods, which is a Taylor Swift colorway that she did. Ooh, is this focusing? I don't know if my camera's having trouble focusing today, but there we go. And I am knitting this on size 2 needles. I'm just using a 16-inch circular, and then I'll switch to DPNs when I get to the decreases. And it's just, you know, millions of miles of stockinette in the round, which makes it a perfect airplane and travel project. And yeah, obviously did not get done in time to wear this year, but this is just such an easy project to take wherever and work on. So I'm just going to keep this as a, you know, on the go type of project, and it'll get done when it gets done. Okay, next whip is my Stockholm Slipover by Petite Knit. This is the one I started, I think I had showed it to you guys, started when it was like right before Valentine's Day, and I had thought something crazy like, oh, I'll start this and get it finished by Valentine's Day. And then I knew that was crazy. But I thought I would keep working on it, and I haven't really worked on it in a few weeks. So I'm showing you my progress because I've made progress, but it's been a while since I worked on this one. Let me try and sort it out on the needle so I can show it to you. I need like a hanger or something maybe. I'll sort that out for next video. So here's what my slipover is looking like. I have put in the collar since the last time we spoke, and it has been joined in the round, and I've got, you know, about 2 inches of the body knit. And I love it. I am making my own version of this vest I saw on an Instagram ad for Bowden, and I'm pretty sure it's a kid's vest, but whatever. I love the colors. I love the pink collar and the trim with the red and white stripes, and so that's what I'm doing. I definitely want to finish this over the next month or so because I do think it would be fun to wear in the spring, summer, like to work over like a button down or something. I'm trying to think, what do I need to say about this? I am knitting this on gauge, DK weight, the called for needles. I think it's like a 20 stitches per 4-inch gauge. So I'm using the called for everything. I am knitting it with Barocco Ultra Wool DK, which is a really nice 100% superwash merino wool and really affordable. Comes in a lot of colors. I got this on sale at my local yarn store, and I think I'm using the color chili or chili pepper or something. And then I have just the basic white. Where's my bag? I have the basic white. Those are my stripes. And then I am using a KnitPicks Swish DK in the color Rose Heather as my contrast trim, which I think is really fun because these are both very solid and this one is a little bit heathered, but I think it looks really, really good with the other colors. So yeah, I don't remember if I took a picture of myself trying this on. I know I did try it on, but it was probably like, you know, midnight on a random Wednesday when I should have been in bed, and I don't know if I took a photo. Whatever I have, you'll be seeing now. Yeah, I actually want to get a couple more inches done and then stop and put in an armhole just to make sure that like I really like how everything is kind of working out. I'm slightly concerned the armholes are a little deep, but I know when I add the ribbing, it'll kind of pull them back in. So I think maybe after I finish the red stripe that I have started on, maybe I'll take a break to kind of come back and add the armhole ribbings on, just to make sure everything is still looking good. I also would really like to make this pattern in solid colors. I really love wearing just like a classic striped button-down shirt. I have a million colors, and I think it'd be fun to just have like a solid color neutral slip over to wear over it, because it'd add a little bit of handmade to an otherwise boring work outfit. So anyways, really enjoying this pattern. Petite knit patterns are always really easy to follow, and yeah, no complaints. I feel like I'm talking so fast because I'm so concerned this video is going to be, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours long, but I think I'm okay on time and I need to just relax. Okay, I have one more whip to share with you that is not a new start and one that you have seen before, and that is my Dagmar zipper sweater by Petite Knit. So this one has definitely gotten a lot of love since you last saw it, but I have not worked on it in a week or two because it just takes up so much brain power, and I've been in a very like easygoing, don't have to concentrate too much type of knitting mood lately. So yeah, this one needs some more love, but it's also such a heavy winter project that will it get worked on until next fall? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But, ooh, let's see. How do I show this? It has gotten so much progress since you last saw it. Oh my gosh, how fun is this? I have joined it in the round, and I've got about 1.5 inches of the body done. And I swear that 1.5 inches took me like 3 nights of work, because that's how long these rows take. You are cabling every other row, and every 4th row is like tons of cables. So this is a very labor intensive garment, but it is also, you know, super satisfying to watch grow and come together. The cable pattern is so intricate and beautiful. This is definitely the most complicated thing I've ever knit before. And I know I'm going to be very, very proud of myself and excited when it's done, but it's taking a lot of work to get it to that point. So I mentioned this is a pattern by Petite Knit. I believe I'm doing the 2XL size. I'll put it up on the screen if I'm incorrect. But I wanted this to very much be like an outerwear throw over, you know, what I'm already wearing type of piece. And I was really drawn to it because I want to make the whole zipper construction of it all. I think it's going to be really satisfying and fun. And to be honest, when I run out of this ball of yarn that I'm on, I might move back up to the neck and like do that neck part just to kind of give myself something different to work on and a break from knitting all these cables. But yeah, I am knitting it on US 7 needles, and I am using a yarn from KnitPicks called, why am I forgetting? I love this yarn. I talked about it ad nauseum in one of my earlier videos when I started this. High Desert Worsted, I believe is what it's called, and it is awesome. This is the color Alder, A-L-D-E-R, which I feel like looks a little bit lighter online, and as you can see, it's a pretty medium brown with a tinge of gray in it. So, you know, if you've also looked at this color on KnitPicks, hopefully this gives you kind of a better sense of what the actual color is, because I definitely thought it was a little bit lighter. But I am still really, really happy with the actual color that it is. I think it's a really good neutral. And I feel like brown is kind of trendy, or like the neutral that everybody's going for. And I feel like it kind of works for me, so I'm into it. I do wish they had more color options because I kind of am obsessed with the yarn and would knit many more things in it. I did order though, okay, this isn't haul yet, but I'll just show it to you. I did order a skein of the High Desert Sport Weight. They have it in worsted and sport. And I did order this color Chanterelle because I wanted to see what this yellow looked like in person. And I think it's so cool. And I'm trying to decide if, like with my hair color and skin color and everything, if this is a color I can pull off. And I think it can be, right? So I might get some more of the chanterelle for some sort of sport weight project. I don't know. Anyways, love this yarn. What else do I need to say about this? I still cannot cable without a cable needle, so I am using my favorite little Brittany wood cable needle that I talked about when I started this project. And it's working great, but it does mean that I am pretty slow on the cable rounds. So I had been, you know, prior to a few weeks ago, I had been convincing myself to pick this up and do 4 rows, which is like 1 repeat of the pattern, like kind of every day. But that 4-row pattern would take me like an hour and a half. So it wasn't an easy job. And then I've kind of fallen off and gotten wrapped up in other knitting projects. So yeah, this one's just been kind of hanging out, and it honestly might hang out till it gets calls again next year. We'll see. I just, you know, I hop around to project, so you never know what's really going to call my name. But yeah, very much enjoying the progress on my Dagmar zipper sweater. Okay, now I think I just have 2 new starts to share with you guys. And they both involve Surrey alpaca fluff yarn because it's so seasonally inappropriate, yet it's all I want to knit with right now. So let's start with the new start that is the farthest along, because I think I started this right after my last video, and I've made a lot of progress. I am knitting the Rocket Tea DK by Tanis Lavali, or Tanis Fiber Arts on Ravelry, and I am holding a fingering weight hand-dyed yarn with a fingering weight Surrey. And I'll show you the yarn first before I show you my progress. This is the fingering weight, which is just, I think, an 80-20 merino nylon. And then this is the silk alpaca lace weight. And they're both hand dyed by Woolberry Fiber in the colorway Flock. Now, this is the first time I had pre-ordered a fingering weight and mohair from a hand dyer to use in a project. And I think if I were doing it again, I might only buy the hand dyed in the fingering weight or the mohair. I don't think I necessarily needed them both to be speckled. It's gorgeous and beautiful, but like now that I've kind of started on this project, I think I could have gotten away with just using the speckled fingering weight held with a neutral mohair, or vice versa. But so this is like a very luxurious project, but it's looking amazing and I love it. And I think this is the first time I've ever shown it. I don't know, maybe I showed it in a vlog or something that I can't remember, but here is the progress I've made on my Rocket Tea DK. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's just a really pretty, creamy, light brown neutral with really fun kind of maroon, gold, black, and a little bit of blue like specks. And the fabric is like ultra dreamy. It's a fingering weight and Surrey lace held together on size 7 needles. I'm getting about 19 stitches per 4 inches, and I am meeting gauge with that. I decided to do the V-neck because I just feel like this will be an ultra warm sweater, and I felt like that would give me a little more breathing room around the neck rather than doing like a high crew neck, which is kind of my preferred sweater style. But I thought maybe for like my first full Surrey alpaca garment, I would start with a V-neck just to make sure I don't get too terribly hot or whatever while wearing it. Yeah, but I'll show you the back of it as well. And we'll talk about what I'm doing for yarn management because this is all hand-dyed yarn. And I think this is, well, no, I was about to say this is the first sweater I've knit out of hand-dyed yarn. That would be a complete lie. I knit with hand-dyed yarn all the time. This is the first sweater where I've been especially concerned about pooling with my hand-dyed yarn because I'm not doing striping or anything that would kind of help mitigate color pooling. So what I decided to do was hold a strand of fingering weight in Surrey and a strand of fingering weight in Surrey and rotate every 2 rounds which set of yarns I'm working with. And I feel like it's resulted in a pretty good, evenly speckled fabric. There's definitely a couple places that have some pooling, but nothing at all that I'm concerned with. And I think based on the amount of yarn I have, the 2 sets of skeins are gonna knit the entire body before I have to introduce new yarns, meaning that the sleeves will be done in another set of 2 alternated skeins, which I think will just make the whole thing overall look really nice and blended. Yeah, so we'll see obviously like how it turns out in the end, but right now I'm really happy with how the yarn management is going. It makes it slightly more annoying to work on because I'm constantly trying to make sure my yarn balls aren't getting tangled with each other and everything is staying where it's supposed to. So I have it in this big bag I made and I have them all in there in like a certain order. And then when I like am twisting my yarns together to switch yarns, I can like move my bag around to like untwist the yarns, if that makes sense. So I've got a little bit of a system worked out and it's working. I tried this on at some point, and so I'll put a picture up of me trying it on. And then I'll show you some of the details. Like the underarm has this really cool little yarn over detail that matches the yarn overs in the raglan. It kind of looks like a lot of open space, but the way the fuzz kind of fills in, I don't really feel like it looks too open when it's actually worn. I do think I would wear like a tank top or a shirt or something underneath it when it's done, but I don't think the yarn overs, you know, are showing too much. And it's a really fun, pretty little detail. So yeah, I probably am over halfway through the body. So maybe just like 6 more inches of body and then I can do the ribbing. Or actually, I think this one has an I-cord bind off for the hems. Yeah, so this is more of like kind of a blouse or like a looser kind of, you know, flowy blouse style rather than a ribbed bottom. That is my Rocket Tee DK. Okay, last new knitting project. It's a new start. I started it yesterday very impulsively, and it involves more fluff yarn. I started the Champagne Cardigan by Petite Knit. This is a pattern I've had in my library for about a year now because I had previously thought I was going to knit it with some other yarn that I don't even remember what I ended up doing with it. It was for a different project. And then I picked a different pattern, but I already owned this Champagne Cardigan. So the reason I picked this pattern is because I have this yarn. I'll show it to you. I have this hand-dyed DK from Ruby and Roses in the color Lover from her Taylor Swift collection. And I've had it in my stash for about a year or so, and I've been wanting to use it. But it was like the base is so white and the speckles are so bright that I got a little scared about like, what am I going to make and will it really be wearable? Well, then I thought, what if I held a silk alpaca with it in kind of a cream color to kind of like diffuse the speckles a little bit? I got the idea from my previous project from the Rocket Tee and holding those yarns together and how the alpaca kind of made everything look like kind of blurry and fuzzy. And so I bought a skein of this lace weight alpaca called Setasuri from Lana Grossa, I believe. One thing, it is crazy the price difference between these European yarns when you buy them from a US-based shop versus when you buy them from, say, a German-based shop. I bought a skein of this on Jimmy Bean's Wool, which I love Jimmy Bean's Wool, but I think it was like $14 and I loved it. But I started Googling and realizing that I could get this yarn from Europe for like $6. And yes, I had to pay shipping and a little bit of customs, but it still came out to about like $8 a ball total when you break it down. The website wasn't German and I just, you know, it said I was buying the right thing. It was a wing and a prayer. They emailed me to get some more specifications on my shipping address, but you know, 3 weeks later it showed up. So it worked. I bought a sweater's quantity of this to hold with this, which you can see this is so much warmer and creamier than this. And it works. So I swatched and I figured out my gauge was about 17 to 18 stitches per 4 inches holding these two yarns together. And so I did a little Ravelry search of what sweater patterns fit that gauge. That is one of my favorite ways to search Ravelry. If I have a yarn I love and I just want to swatch with it, then I can kind of figure out like, okay, what kind of gauge am I getting with what kind of needles? And then I'll search for projects that use that same gauge. And that's kind of a fun way for me to like, you know, kind of do what is maybe not recommended, which is where I buy yarn and then I think of a project. And that's a way to kind of help me find a project that works for the yarn and supplies I have. So that's what I did with this one. And it turned out the champagne cardigan fit my gauge and it's a pattern I already owned. So I immediately cast it on last night after doing my gauge swatch. So I don't have a very large start. This is all I have to show you. It's just, you know, the start of a raglan cardigan, but I am obsessed with the fabric. It is like vanilla funfetti. I love that the cream surrey kind of takes down the white and starkness of the white a little bit and kind of just, you know, like the speckles are obviously still very prominent, but it just kind of smooths everything out a bit and it looks so cool. This pattern has like a 3-stitch raglan, which I think is really cool. It's kind of a more prominent raglan, but I'm just really enjoying it. It's petite knit, so it's a very easy to follow pattern. I am knitting it on the called for needles, which are size 7 with the recommended gauge. I think my gauge is more between 17 and 18, so maybe mine was coming out slightly larger. And since she recommends so much positive ease, I'm actually knitting a full size smaller, maybe even a size and a half smaller than her pattern would recommend. But I don't want 11 inches of ease in this cardigan, so I am knitting the 4th size, hoping to get, with my gauge being a little bit bigger, a garment that's more around the 6 to 7 inches of positive ease. So still a very like comfy, slightly big cardigan, but not like super oversized. I also just feel like in a cardigan, I don't want anything that big because I feel like it'll be falling off my shoulders and I don't know. I just didn't want mine that big. So I am knitting the 4th size and I think it's looking great. It feels like nothing really to show you yet, but you know, I've got a few inches. Again, it's going to be so hot here. So like how much longer am I really going to be wanting to knit with these fluff yarns? But this was all in my stash, except for the set to surrey, which I did buy to add to the project. But it feels really good to cast on this yarn because I've been wanting to cast something on with it for months and months. I talked about it in my fall knitting plans video and I never got around to starting a project. So yeah, I'm very happy to have started this. I'm also very happy to have started a cardigan. If you've watched my channel a long time, you may remember a creamy neutral speckled cardigan that I started a year ago. And unfortunately, that is just not the right shape and size. It's a little oversized and it ended up not being exactly what I wanted. So that is a frogged, hibernating, well, it needs to be frogged. It's a hibernating project right now. So this is kind of its like spiritual successor. Another type of funfetti cardigan, but hopefully in the right size this time. I think that's everything I have to say about the champagne cardigan. Okay, the last little thing of knitting that I want to talk about is some happy mail that I got from KnitPicks. So, I mean, as you've heard in this video, as you've heard in a lot of my videos, I really love KnitPicks. And I think somebody at KnitPicks might have heard me because they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to receive some of their yarns to try out for free. And I was like, yes, please. I love you, KnitPicks. So they sent me a box of a lot of different skeins of their yarn, and some I've tried before, some are new to me, and I just thought I'd show you what they sent me. And yeah, I have some plans and some ideas. Like I want to try more of some of these yarns they sent for sure. So let me show you what they sent. One thing that was hilarious is they asked me what kind of colors and fibers and things I liked. And so I said, usually wool or wool blends. I like pinks, I like reds, I like neutrals. And I was like, I love Swish. Like Swish DK is one of my faves. And they were like, yes, everyone loves Swish. We love Swish. Swish is great. So the first thing I saw in the box was literally a skein of Swish DK in the color Rose Heather, which is so funny because I'm literally already using this yarn. So yes, Absolutely love it. Thank you, KnitPicks. They also sent me a skein of their Wool of the Andes, and this is their most popular, most amount of colors, like most well-known yarn, and it's actually one I've never used before. It's the 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and it is a sport weight. Yes, Wool of the Andes is a sport weight. And they sent me this really great neutral color, let's see, what is it called? Oyster Heather. So I will say, just like in the ball, this definitely feels woolier and like toothier than Superwash Merino. This is a non-superwash yarn. It is great for color work. It is really inexpensive and comes in lots of great colors. This is one I definitely want to swatch with and wash and see if it's something that I think that I would wear next to skin, because, you know, I'm like kind of a baby. Like, I like super, super soft yarns, which does mean that, you know, my sweaters are prone to pilling, and I've been wanting to get into non-superwash more. I knit this in a non-superwash Cormo that is just super, super lovely. So I do want to swatch and block and kind of see what this feels like, because I do have lots of colorwork sweaters in my head and in my queue, like this imaginary queue of projects that I want to work on. So it would be awesome if I could use something like Wool of the Andes, because it is really affordable and comes in lots of great colors. Okay, Gloss is one I've used before. They have a fingering weight and a DK weight. So they sent me a skein of Gloss, and this is a merino silk blend. 70% merino wool, 30% silk, hand wash, dry flat. And this feels amazing. I knit an entire sweater out of the fingering weight version 15 years ago. Unfortunately, no, I do not have that sweater anymore. It was kind of like a waffle knit. And I don't know, I think I've done a scarf in the DK weight, but this is something I would definitely be interested in doing a sweater in, because it is super, super soft and nice. So let's see, what's this color? Proper Pink. Okay, and then they sent me their fingering weight Stroll, which is their 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon sock weight yarn. And I have used this before. It's been a while, but it is a really lovely sock yarn. And I'm actually really happy to have a solid color, because all of my sock yarns are crazy variegated. So this could definitely get used as like accent cuffs and heels and toes. But yes, Stroll is excellent, especially if you're a new sock knitter and just want to try something out that's like inexpensive. And they come in 50-gram balls. And if you are a woman with smaller feet, you can get kind of mid-calf socks out of 50 grams. So very handy that they sell 50-gram balls. Then they sent me a skein of Palette, which is kind of the, I think, sister to Wool of the Andes. It's a fingering weight Peruvian Highland wool. Yeah, 100% Peruvian Highland wool. And it's a fingering weight size 1 to 3 needles. And I, again, have so many color work ideas, and I feel like Palette would be a really good option. So this is another one that I want to swatch and block and kind of see how it washes up. This is such a pretty color. This one's called Pimento. And then they sent me this brand new yarn called Gossy, which confused me because I was like, is it like glossy, like, or gloss, just without the L? But no, it is called Gossy. And it is a, I think, man-made fiber. It says it's 65% Cupro, C-U-P-R-O, and 35% fine merino wool. I think, I Googled Cupro. I think it's kind of like a plant-made fake silk type of fabric, or type of fiber. And honestly, this feels really, really nice. Super smooth to the touch. I feel like this is an excellent summer, spring weight. It's got the little bit of wool to kind of help it be more elastic, but it's got the, you know, kind of faux silk man-made type plant fiber to give it a little more like breathability and less heat. I love that it's sport weight. I want to find some sort of like tank or t-shirt pattern to use this with. I want to get some more, I mean, let's be honest, I want to get more colors because I want to do something striped. And I've honestly been itching to cast on some summer weight garments because it's getting so hot here. But I have so many fluffy, fun whips that like I'm trying to force myself to like still be in winter knitting mode even while it gets hot out here. Because summer lasts forever here. I have plenty of time to get to my summer knits. But anyways, this is like high on my list. I will link everything down below. I just want to say a big thank you to KnitPicks. I am now an affiliate with KnitPicks, which all that means is that I have a special link, and if you click through it and shop at KnitPicks, I get a small commission off your sale. It adds nothing to the price. It's just like KnitPicks thanking me for sending customers their way. So I have that with several different stores. So if you ever notice in my description box, links, like I have a disclaimer. It says some of these might be affiliate links. All that means is that, you know, I get a small sales commission when you make a purchase through the link. And that helps fund this channel and all of the fun trips and things and events and yarn shopping and, you know, everything else I do and film and put out here on YouTube. So thank you to anyone who's ever clicked a link below my video and bought something fun from it. Okay, I've been filming, an hour and 22. Okay, that's less than I thought. I really thought this was going to be a 2-hour one, but I powered through. Hopefully not too fast. It's been so long since I like sat down and did a proper video. I just had so much to talk about. I think what I'm going to do now, this is the part where we get rambly and talk about nonsense. It is beautiful outside, which probably means everyone else in the world is outside, but I think it's like 5 p.m. I'm going to go tell Rob, get dressed, we're going out, and I'm going to find a patio to sit on in my spring floral top and these super crazy clown picnic pants that I made. And I want a margarita in the sunshine. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you're all having a great day. I'll probably put this up on Tuesday. I hope you're having a great Tuesday. And I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! What am I talking about? What am I ever talking about?